Well, hello, hello, hello. It's Rebecca Happy here with Ottawa BuzzTV, and thank you for joining us today. I hope you enjoyed last week's session with the Honorable Paul Hellyer as he talked us into the importance of paying attention to the upcoming CETA ratification and what we need to know as Canadians before it's too late. And today we're here on the Hangout with Pierrette Raymond, a local business owner who has a few businesses in the city, and they're all interconnected. She's a professional organizer, and she helps people transition from one phase to the next in their life. She specifically loves to work with seniors as they prepare to downsize after their families have grown up and moved on. And so welcome, and thank you for joining us today, Pierrette.
Hi, I'm glad to be here. Thank you for the opportunity, Rebecca.
So tell us a little bit about why somebody would want to work with your business or you or the people in your business, and really what the difference is, say, with somebody who would work with a hoarder and what you guys are doing.
Well, most of the time my phone's going to ring when a family is in crisis, unfortunately. Whether there's been a death, an illness, a fall, and now an aging parent can no longer live in their home. And now the adult children are looking for resources to help them list the home, help their parents move, help them settle in, and they're feeling overwhelmed. So that would be one sense or one type of family that would call. The other families that call us are people who are looking to downsize. They're the baby boomers. They're looking to move out of a larger home. They're now into the empty nest field, and they want to really move into a condo or a bungalow, and they're looking for that help because their basement is just filled with stuff. The attic's filled with stuff, so they're looking to plan ahead. So those are the two major people that we'll help, or families that we help. And then we also have some younger families who are looking for our support because they want to have a home that's organized with different areas for their children, different areas for them. So those are the three big categories of people, of families that we help. And I think to answer your question about what differentiates us is we specialize in helping seniors, and we also specialize in helping those that are going through really tough and challenging times. So whether it's related to grief or major illness, we get those calls because of our experience, our education, and how my team has been trained, and also the experiences that they have gone through personally in their lives. So they're not new to transition, they're not new to death, they're not new to major experiences in their lives that have caused a lot of challenges, a lot of pain. So they understand the whole process. They understand from a level of compassion what needs to be done, and then logistically we have our system that is there to help.
So could you sort of walk me through, if I phoned you up and said, we're really struggling and we need some help, and we have a big house, all the kids just moved out, and we want to downsize, what would you do? Plus, you know, there's all whatever kind of drama is going in our house. What would we have to do, and what would you do to help us?
Yeah, the first step would be for us to have an in-person consultation with you, which we don't charge for. And that allows you to ask the questions of us that you want answered. It allows us to do a walkthrough of your home so that we can see the different areas of your home where you might be challenged with the most, things that you want the most help with. We can give you some guidance there. And that consultation gives us an opportunity to give you an estimate of how much time we think it's going to take, and also you're going to want to know how much is this going to cost. So that consultation gives us an opportunity to answer all those questions and start providing you with some resources to help you take some steps, even if you don't hire us right away. So if you want to have things appraised, you're thinking that your great-grandmother's china has great value and you don't want to sell it, you don't want to donate it, the kids don't want it, but you want to know how much it's worth, we can provide you with appraisers who can give you that value of what that is. So we can start providing you with some resources even before we start doing the work. And the second step is when you say, yes, I want your help, then we start scheduling time with you, and we work a step-by-step plan with you. We'll go through one room at a time, and I'll always say this, we start where it's easiest. We won't go where you're overwhelmed, where there's a lot of emotional attachment, because that's really tough to start there. So we'll start in areas where you feel you can start the downsizing process, going through your personal property to make decisions about what to keep, what you'd like to gift, what you'd like to sell, what you'd like to donate, and what is just trash. So those are the first two major steps in preparing for or hiring us to help you with a downsize or an organizing project.
So what would sort of be the average length of time you would be working with somebody on the
That really is, you know, the impossible question to ask, because everybody's so different. Their homes are different, the amount of stuff they have is different, how long they can go through a box of memories is different. So every person is very, very unique and different. You know, I get this question asked all the time, well, what's the average of the cost? What's the average of time it's going to take? There really is no average. The average is what's unique to you. If you were a person who through the years you went through your personal property and you started letting go, well, you won't need so much of our help. So for you it's going to cost a lot less in terms of financial investment, but it's not going to take you as long either. But if you're someone who has not, you know, gone through the process and your basement, garage, and attics are full, for you it's going to take longer. And it could be more expensive. So it really is relative to your situation and what you have in your personal property that is keeping you from letting it go. And, you know, just to add to that, we'll work with a client in a small block of time at a time. And I think that's really good advice for those who are watching and they want to start a project on their own. They want to clean out a closet. You don't have to do it all in one day. You don't have to do it all in one weekend. We normally start at 10 and we'll finish at 2. So in that 4 hours, we can get a lot done, and you have your morning routine, you have your afternoon and evening routine, and you don't feel like you're involved in just that. So working in small blocks of time and starting where it's easiest is really the place to start, and you don't even need to hire us for that. So those are things that you can do to start the process yourself.
So if somebody wasn't committed, like, to do the whole big thing, but they want to prepare for a few years down the road, and they want to work with you, just say for one of those blocks of time or two of those blocks of time, do you guys offer that?
Absolutely. So we'll offer whatever you need, and we'll work with your budget. So that's why the consultation is so important. The consultation allows us to see where you would struggle the most and how we could help you with that. We'll give you homework assignments. We'll give you opportunities to do things on your own. Sometimes going through your own old bills and paper, you don't need us to sit with you to do that. So that could be a homework assignment that you do in the evening with a cup of tea or while you're watching television, and you don't need to hire us professionally to do that. You can do that yourself. So there are things that you can do on your own, and there are things that we can help you with, and that's where we'll assess that. And like I say, we'll work with your budget of time and money, and I would recommend that people look at least 3 months in advance if they're looking to downsize, if they're looking to physically move. If you're just doing an organizing project and you're, you know, for that example, the holidays. So if you want to get your home ready for the holidays, give yourself a good month to 6 weeks to get through the process, depending on how much you have, of course. But give yourself some lead time so that it doesn't feel like that's all you're doing, and you can spread the costs out of time, money, and energy over a longer period of time than trying to cram it all into one weekend, for example.
So when you said that sometimes like some of your clients come from the family members of an older relative, like their parents, and maybe or often in the case, I know when older family members they're downsizing or trying, it's after the result of a death or some kind of, maybe they broke their hip and they have to dramatically change their living situation. Do you find a lot of resistance with these kind of people who come with those needs to you? And how do you sort of help them go through that process, even if they're not really wanting to welcome you into their home?
I think it's the opposite. I think there's less resistance at that point. It's sad, though, because they're in a situation now where they have to make decisions. They're forced to make decisions, and sometimes the person who lived in the home is no longer in control. So now it's the responsibility of family and friends to make decisions on behalf of the person who was once in control. So it's not that there's resistance. I think there's more resistance when people think they have the time to wait. And I always recommend that you don't wait. You know, you have that gut feeling. And just recently I shared a video about talking to your parents about downsizing, about starting the process. Doesn't mean they're going to move right away, but you can certainly start to have that conversation, start going through personal property, and start the process. So, you know, taking your time, and I think the resistance comes when you feel like you have so much time ahead of you. When you have that gut feeling, you have that inner voice saying, I think we should start, you know, downsizing. I think we should start letting things go. We just have too much stuff. Same thing with your parents. You know, mom and dad are having a hard time going up and down the stairs. You know, they can't take care of the property like they used to. Maybe we should start going through some of those boxes and making decisions with them, not for them, but with them. And that's where the resistance will dissipate. The reason we don't experience as much resistance when we're brought in is because we're not family. We don't have the story and the history of, you know, what's happened with Great Aunt Edna's china, for example. So we don't know the, you know, the story behind it and who's going to take it and why we have to keep it. For us, we're there to support our families and the individuals in making decisions based on what their priorities are and where they're going to go. How much space do they have? What's really important? What really matters? So that resistance dissipates because we come from a perspective of we're just here to support you. You're in control. You're making the decisions. And there's far less resistance than you would suspect. We do have some that just have a hard time letting go, but there are things that we can do with them to help them through that process.
So I see, as you're speaking to me, like behind you, everything is totally organized. So I'm assuming this is probably a habit that you've practiced for many years of time. Were you always that way, or did you just kind of fall into like, oh, I like to be an organizer?
No. Oh no, I was the messy room child with, you know, teenager, clothes on the floor, bed not made, and you know, for me, when you with 1-800-GOT-JUNK and seeing what's really going on behind closed doors, and then working one-on-one with families and individuals, you come home and you start looking around your own home, and the same questions you're asking your clients, why do you keep this? What's the story behind it? Do you really need it? Is it really important? Plays over and over and over in your head. So you look at your own property, you look at your own basement, and you go, we need to downsize. We need to get rid of some stuff because we're pack ratty here. So yeah, I think the first couple of years were really eye-opening for me, and now, you know, I live a very simple life. I don't spend on things I don't need or want. My kids are very much growing up that way, although it's harder for my daughter. I'll be honest there, but I think that awareness of seeing what's going on for real behind closed doors helps me hold up the mirror and ask myself, you know, is this really important? What really matters? And do I really need to keep all this stuff? So that's why, you know, I have my days where it's super messy in my office, especially when I'm working on a program or a project, but I'd like to keep things tidy just because of the energy and how it feels to be in a messy space. And I don't like that at all. So I hope that answered your question, but no, I wasn't brought up this way, and it's not innate at all. It's called practice, lots of practice and awareness, yeah.
And so have you found with the people you work with, as well as with yourself, that once you do that, you kind of, the practice of organization, that it does make people feel better? Or what kind of transformations do you find within yourself or others that you're helping through time?
I think we've all had that experience where you've gone through a closet and you know, it's time to donate the clothes that you don't wear anymore. It just feels good to let it go. You know, it feels good to know that somebody else can appreciate and use it. So that feeling of I'm helping somebody else is really a good motivator. And the energy shifts too, how you feel in that space. You know, your home, I love what Oprah says, your home should be there to rise and greet you when you will come in. I don't want to come into a home that's messy and cluttered. I don't feel good in that space. So as we're working with our clients and we're going through the process of letting go, they're seeing and experiencing that feeling of release and relief. So it's two components. You feel the release of that stress, of that burden. You feel that release of it. And then there's a sense of relief, this, this new space is opening up. And I always say when you start letting go, you're opening yourself up for more time, more energy, and more money for who and what matters most. So that is what drives people to keep it up. And that's what drives people to want to maintain what they've worked so hard to achieve after they've worked with us, is to maintain that peace and that feeling of, I love my space, I love my home.
Well, thank you for sharing all that information. I'm sure that it would be helpful for pretty well anybody in the city to be able to work with somebody like you at different times of their lives. So I know on one of your websites, when I was doing the research, you offer a blueprint. And where could people get that from you?
It's called The Art of Downsizing. It's a step-by-step guide to a smooth home transition. It's actually on my website at movingforwardmatters.com. It's a free guide. You just have to download it. You enter your email, your name and email, and it comes into your inbox. And there are spreadsheets, there are worksheets, everything's included there to help you get started. It's super popular, and it's been extremely helpful to people who want to start the process, who want to help someone go through the process, and then what they end up doing is calling when they get stuck or when they need more help. That's when they'll call upon us. But by all means, go to movingforwardmatters.com. The guide is there, and it's free for you to download.
Okay, and if someone wants to work with you, they should find you on pierretteRaymond.com or Moving Matters.
Yeah, they can go to movingforwardmatters.com, or they can go to pierretteRaymond.com, hit the contact link, and that'll come directly to me. And my phone number is there as well, so I'd be happy to answer any questions and be there to support someone who's needing some help going through a transition.
Well, thank you so much for joining us today, Pierrette. This has been really informative. And I'm going to start looking around my space now. I already know I need some help. Hopefully, as I transition from like full house to empty nest, something will fall into place.
Right. So, well, thank you. I appreciate it. Thanks so much, Rebecca.
And so thank you for tuning in today on Ottawa BuzzTV. And so next week we're going to be speaking with a new business that's opening up on the outside of the city, and you should tune in.